and we are going to get going with some more draft day sports, college basketball 2020. And tonight, the plan is to bring you guys season 4 recruiting. So you can see here, the only thing I've simulated since last night was actually the off-season processing. Here we are on our initial landing screen. This roster is not set. I fully expect Giles to probably transfer out, which is going to be devastating. I don't care that he's at 2 stars. He's much more important than that. I also don't care at all that Montgomery's come in and got a rating of a half star. Again, my scout has like 20, 25 ability. I don't care at all what he says. I'm playing that guy and seeing what happens. They've got some of our point guards rated high as well. I also don't care about that. I like to see it. It makes me hopeful that Griffin could turn out well as the freshman point guard up there. We're going to obviously start Watkins, though. He did fine for us last year. I would really like if we didn't have to replace a ton of starters. We lost Wild to graduation, clearly. Giles, whether he stays or goes, is just absolutely huge. So let's go ahead. Hopefully people are going to be coming on as we get going here. But we're still very, very much in the preseason. So first, I'm just going to go ahead and buy the report. After we do that, obviously we'll get the heads up with regard to our transfers, move on through there, and then actually get into the recruiting. And by that time, the word should be out that we're up and going here. Usually, I think last night we went about an hour and a half, hour 45. Usually the recruiting's a little quicker, so I expect to be on about an hour, hour 15, something like that. But I am definitely going to take you, same as last time, I'm going to take you from right here all the way up until the games begin. We won't sim any games tonight. We'll save that for tomorrow. So once again, we're a tiny, tiny school. We're located in Florida. We will take the basic Florida report, and that's all that we need. See if I can get connected to chat over here. I had it, and then I lost it. Let's see. Let's try some stuff out. Oh, I think I figured it out. Hopefully I can be chatting with you guys if you all are in here. Let us see. I didn't even look. That was probably where we got the note about transfers, and Giles is probably gone. God, so disappointing. I mean, it's not a surprise, but it is very, very disappointing. So we'll actually have 4 scholarships available. I never really look at the transfers, but we might check out the transfer portal. I don't know. I might at least take a look at it this year. I did save this. The recruiting rankings came in, and we're ranked 68th. So, I mean, that's for Florida A&M. We got 4 prestige. Hey, I'll take top 100 recruiting classes all day long. So that's the good news. Obviously, the bad news, Eric Giles has decided to move on as we expected. So that's really, really painful. Let's go ahead and advance and at least take a look at what the transfer market has to offer us here. Transfer market like it's a FM game, right? So we got a couple of guys interested. Power forward and a point guard, both sophomores. This guy was playing heavy minutes a game, not really scoring at all. His assists are actually worse than his turnovers, so I have no interest in him whatsoever. Power forward, we're kind of already set, so there's not a whole lot of, out of the 2 guys that are interested in us, I don't have much interest in them. Let's rate this by points per game and see if anybody stands out with like really low minutes. Like this guy, well, he's a center, but he's still scoring 10 a game in 13 minutes, so that's not too shabby, although he is a junior, so he'd probably only get 1 game out of him. Anybody else really jumping out? Now here we go. Villarreal out of Argentina. He's a shooting guard, which would go well for us, coming out of Seton Hall, scoring almost a point per minute. I mean, not quite, but pretty good. Like 3/4 of a point a minute. Nothing else standing out too awfully crazy, so Top choices: LSU, Providence. Why not give that a shot? We only had the one scholarship available here for transfers, so let's see if we can land us a transfer and see how that works out. It's not something that I enjoy doing, but given that the prestige that we have is just rock bottom, my coach is still, he's slowly getting there. In a year or two, I'll be able to pull in the recruits that I'm looking at, but we're not quite there yet. So, why not give it a shot, right? Let's see if he gave us any kind of feedback or anything. What do we have that sort of about? Points per game? There's Villarreal. Still basically no interest. So I offered him, and now I have the scholarship back. Does that mean he just outright rejected it? So this is why I'm not crazy about transfers. I just haven't done it enough. Contacted him. All right. Let's go ahead and offer again in advance. One more time. If we come back in here again on the next round, yeah, Giles left. I fully expected it, and he was definitely gone. So I know a guy who's been here the past couple of days, been checking us out. Oh, look at that! Villarreal came in. Ooh, really? What's his? So he's not friendly, which is probably why he left Seton Hall to begin with. But again, our scouts are awful, but that's interesting for next year. So his points per minute were pretty good. Hopefully that can be somebody that can be a scorer for us next year. Let's also take a look here at Montgomery. He's also rated as a not friendly, wants solid minutes. So he's probably not going to ever have a great relationship with the team, but hopefully if he gets some minutes, maybe we can build up a coach relationship with him and keep him around. We will. Oh, get out of here, Galia. Of course, his coach is a Louisville fan. We're coming to you with cards from the GM game stream. So, of course, Cards is a Louisville fan. What are you talking about, man? Get out of here with that. So we have the one scholarship to offer to transfers. It worked out for us. We got somebody that may be interesting in the future, so we can skip the rest of these sessions. We don't have anything left to offer for them, and we'll get right to our summer travel schedule. I was talking about this Journeyman save all day on our online league, and we got some more people interested in the Journeyman saves. So they are all, always fun. You can't really, you're playing in the challenge mode, and you don't really get to pick your school. You don't just jump in and, okay, here I am, I'm Michigan State or Kansas or what have you, I'm a top school. Like, it doesn't work like that. You've got to go out. And just see where the offers come from. So Galia said for transfers, you can click their profile, and it'll show you the rank they came in when they were recruits. So basically the same as the guys on your roster. You can do that in player profile as well. I didn't know that for the transfers, though, so that's an awesome tip. And see, this is what I'm talking about, man. You jump out, watch some streams, listen, chat with some people, and you learn every single day about this game. So, yeah, that would be a great idea to go after some of those former 5- and 4-star recruits in the transfer market. I'm surprised that there's a lot of them out there. For the most part, I would expect the 5s to go pro. I could see maybe some of the 4-stars that weren't getting playing time, that were really interested in playing time. Maybe those are the guys showing up on the market there. So, Agalia, 2 questions. When you go after those guys, are you landing them, and do they tend to stick around, and just how do they turn out? I'm interested in this now. We can get rid of all of those emails. We do not need them anymore. We're going to jump right up to our travel plans. All we need is, we can go to Memphis, that's 3,700. And we can go to Georgia Superstar, why not? At least if we've got players like in the state of Florida that do well there, those are definitely targets, and we're doing so much of our recruiting in state. This shouldn't be 7,000 give or take, so we should still have around 17. I think that'll be enough to bring in 3 players from in-state. Alright, so we're getting these plans out of the way. Today's June 25th. As soon as this is done processing, we're going to be on the 26th, and we're going to hit recruiting hard. We're going to do basically the same thing as we have on the past couple of rounds here. We're just going to load up on any player in Florida that we think will qualify, who's not in like that top 100 to 150 range. Those guys are clearly not going to come to our school. Outside of that, we can maybe pull some guys in. So Gaia says he did land a handful of 4-star guys at Binghamton. Yeah, once you move up out of this very, very bottom realm, I won't be hitting transfers. I almost never hit transfers anyway. So now you can see here, I was talking about our depth at power forward. And right away, our guys that we've pulled in, that we've been excited about, don't look too awfully happy. Hinton really doesn't like me for some reason. You know, usually when that coach relationship is really low, I would expect it's about minutes, but, you know, he says he's not too concerned about that. So I don't know where exactly that's coming from. Same thing with Wright. Neither of them look so unhappy that they'll transfer out unless that relationship gets worse throughout the year. So we won't worry about it too much for now. We've got 3 scholarships. We have, let's see, I'm just looking at what we'll have for next year. Assuming no one transfers out, we should have 2 scholarship point guards, and I had talked about potentially redshirting one of these guys, so that's definitely still on the table. Although at the same time, like, we've only got 4 scholarship guards right now with Giles leaving, so maybe not. But anyway, we could always bring in one more point guard. We'll have 2 scholarship shooting guards. Only 1 scholarship small forward, so we definitely want 1, if not 2 guys here at the 3. We'll have 3 scholarship power forwards and 2 centers. Is that right? Yeah, so we may go, we'll go for a small forward, probably a center and a point guard. We could always lay off that center and go for 2 small forwards. So we'll see what it looks like. Realistically, we're going for guys that we can actually pull in here because we have had a difficult time pulling guys in. So we're going to bring in anybody, like I said, anybody that we think can qualify and is not in that top 150. We're going to throw them on our list. So Mike Leith would definitely be in that range. So the only guy here we skipped over is Clint Stevens, 1.8 GPA. That's probably not going to cut it. Let me make sure that I get all of our point guards, small forwards, and centers on the list first. Which doesn't look like it's going to be a problem at all. We're going to stay away from Woodley. He's in that top 100. There's virtually no chance of pulling him in. Lyons with a 2.2 and no interest. I'm going to be wary of him also. We'll go ahead and throw King on the list. Yeah, I mean, we'll throw the JUCO center on there as well. You know, why not? I'm not crazy about it. But, you know, if that's who comes through, then so be it. McLean, another one that we don't really have a realistic shot at bringing in. I do not want a JUCO power forward. Low GPA there. And shooting guard. You know, it's a shame that, no, okay, now see here, he's at 124. I mean, why not give it a shot, right? I mean, what's he going to do? Tell us no, just like everybody else? I'm actually not going to go for JUCOs here either, just because I brought in that transfer. Had I not brought him in, I would definitely be loading up on these JUCOs, but we're not going to do it right now. What's up, Tribe Warpath? Doing good today, buddy. We're going to work out our recruiting in our 4th season here. We did unfortunately lose Giles, the shooting guard. He transferred on, but I fully expected that to happen. But otherwise, you know, we landed a big transfer. If you're just now joining us, we landed a transfer who came in, and our scouts gave him 3 stars right out of the gate. Now, as I've said the whole time, I don't take that to mean much of anything. Our scouts are absolutely pathetic, but you know, good ratings are better. Good ratings are better than bad ratings, I suppose. With that being said, they gave a terrible rating to the center recruit that I've been so excited about, and I am 100% disregarding it. I'm still going to get him on the court as early as possible. He's going to have to prove to me that he's no good, and he might have his entire freshman and sophomore year to prove that. Yeah, Giles is a bummer, but I'm excited about the transfer. I'm excited about the center prospect, and I'm excited about what we can do here in recruiting. You know, last year our in-home visits were so bad, I think it was almost turning people off. But we keep improving every year. If we take a look over here in the coach's office, you can see we actually do. Our goal is to finish top 3 in the conference this year. That's what the board has asked us to do. Now that might be a little bit lofty, especially with Giles transferring out. Had he stayed, maybe we'd have had a shot at this. At this point, the only way I think that we have a shot is if either, you know, all of the recruits are very much more than I expected, and our conference slides backwards a little bit. So we'll just have to see about that. But you know, if you come in here and check this out, our recruiting's up to 43. I mean, it's still not, you know, it's up from 38, so it's not like it jumped a ton. But from 30 to 43 is a big difference. You know, we're only in our 4th year, and we've made a decent amount of progress there. You know, as that inches up towards 50, you know, we're at least breaking even with these other coaches. And it's not like we're going after elite prospects. We're going after guys that could definitely come into Florida A&M. So once we start landing our true top targets here, this is gonna it's gonna escalate quickly, as they like to say. Take a look at the draft. Louisville getting the 6th pick overall. I like it. The Zags have 2 in the top 6. St. Mary's, Louisville again. Michigan State had the top 2. So looking pretty good there. There's another Michigan State guy. But obviously not going to be a whole lot of Florida A&M in there. So we are going to stick with our recruiting. We got our list together. We got all of our films watched. We've got our campus visits set up. So we should be able to go ahead and advance. We should start marching forward here. We're going to take you, if y'all joined in a little bit late, I'm going to take you tonight all the way up to the start of games. We're not going to simulate any games tonight. We're just going to get through all of the recruiting. We're going to get through that early contact period. See if we can have a little bit better luck. You know, last season we finally landed one of our top targets. He doesn't have a great rating so far, but we're going to see how that plays out on the court. This season I'd love to bring in a couple more of these guys that are really our top targets. So this one I didn't have a whole lot of hope in. He already visited. He still has no interest. I'm going to go ahead and remove him from the list because money will be a little bit tighter this year. These other guys, we'll just leave them. I'm not going to be too upset about it. Knox actually has a little bit of interest before even visiting. Let's see if he'll give up anything here. What do you think of the location, man? Hung up on us right away. That's why we really got to get that recruiting up so I can start unlocking some more of these categories. I could unlock far more than I have so far. I just hate getting hung up on. It's super annoying, and so I skip it a lot. We are going to scout live our top 3 guys that are interested. We're going to get some more film going. How far did we get? Right in this area. Got some more film to watch. All right, so we got all our film, all our visits. We can move on again. And, you know, same as before here. I'm just trying to get eyes on every recruit in the state, trying to get as many of them on campus as possible. See if we can't generate a little bit of interest. We're going to play it out. This time we will actually get information back from the Georgia Superstar Camp. So we can check that out now and see if any of our recruits actually attended. But these guys didn't think it was worth it. We knew that. So yeah, we actually had 6 guys that attended that camp. All right, nobody. So William King looked okay at the camp. Booth was all right. Knox. So all 3 of these big men did well at the camp. King, Booth, and Knox. So that's actually, you know, pretty good. That's 3 more targets where, I don't know how they'll do when it comes to that southeast camp, but all right, so it was Booth, Knox, and King. So 2 guys that have already visited didn't have any interest, and Knox, who actually does have some interest even prior to the visit, so we'll see if that holds up. Let's take a look at him. We're not in his top 10, at least that we know of. So we can move on ahead here. All that did was run a camp. It didn't actually take our recruiting actions into account yet. And it just ran the western camp, so still didn't get our recruiting actions in yet. We'll get them going right here. See if we've generated any more interest, and let's see what Knox thought about the campus visit. Hopefully he had a great time. If he did, that's certainly going to be a big-time target. Just because we're kind of deep at powerful. Of course, look. He comes onto campus and loses interest. That's the struggle that we're having right now. We're not prestigious. Our coaches aren't that skilled, and so as often as not, we're losing interest rather than generating it. And, that's frustrating, but that is definitely life at a small school. They're probably a little bit out of our range. I am going to be persistent this year. I'm not going to let that nonsense get me down. These guys, if they commit somewhere else in the early period, that's fine. But if not, I'm just going to have my assistant call and harass them all throughout the winter and the spring, and see if we can't turn those frowns upside down. Bring them on down. They can be a rattler. If you weren't here with us the last time, we came up with the official call of the Rattlers. So when things get tough and they need a big basket or they need a big recruit, we're all going to give it a little sss. That's official. Somebody with Florida A&M can contact me about the trademark on that. But that's what we're going to do to these guys up here at the top, just until they decide to come in and they want to learn the cool move. That's actually I had to practice that a whole lot. It doesn't come naturally. Don't try that at home. You probably will injure an arm, or it'll come out wrong, bite your tongue. But we put a lot of effort into that official Florida A&M chant. So we want to teach it to these guys. That just ran another camp. It's still not running the southeast camp, so we're going to go ahead and advance. The southeast camp is going to get run after the dead period. Yeah, Jerron said the assistant he's got doing scouting is rated at 60-something. That's a much better rating. You can definitely take that into account. It's also going to still depend to some degree on your head coach's rating. The scouting that you get, it's a little bit of a mix. It depends on how you're scouting them. A lot goes into it. The watching film is different than the scouting live. Different ratings go into it. I don't know all of the behind. If I could easily do a rattle, I would do it. But we're doing because we're not doing a rattling noise. We're doing a hissing sound. It would be a wildcat to come up with some nonsense like a rattling noise. Just because we're the Rattlers. No, we're doing a hiss. I don't know all the background math on the scouting. I don't like to break it down too much. I know it takes into account your assistant. I know it takes into account your head coach. And then it's going to take into account, are you scouting them based on film? Are you scouting them based on you went and scouted them live? Or are you scouting them at one of the camps? So all of those different factors come into it, but exactly which percentage I couldn't say. I will say 60 is definitely in that range where you can start putting a little bit of credence into it. But I always like to make sure that the scouting ratings, the recruiting ratings, which are different, that's talking about the stars and the overall rating and all that, the statistics, the scouted ratings from this, the overall evaluation, and the production in camps. I want to make sure that all of that, all of those different things, if they all tell the same story, you've got a pretty good feel on a recruit. If they're all telling you different stories, then you've got to decide how much stock you put into each one of those. And, that's hard to say because there's just so many different factors that go into it. So, as many people much smarter than me have already said on the Wolverine Studios forums, recruiting's really more of an art than a science. You find the way that really works for you, and what you want to put your faith into, and see how it works out, and kind of go from there. So this is obviously what I'm doing at a smaller school. As I move up into bigger schools, this is going to change pretty drastically, to be honest. And every year the focus is just a little bit different. Sometimes I really nail it, and more often than not, just pull in great recruiting hauls. But there absolutely have been years where I've blown it. I took my eye off the ball. I looked at the wrong thing, overlooked some guys that may have had interest, or put too much towards guys that didn't have interest, and I just blew it. So nobody's perfect. It is definitely an art. There's no guaranteed way to be an excellent recruiter. You can get better. There's definitely ways for everyone to improve, but no guaranteed recipe for success. The Memphis Hoops Summit. All right, so yeah, I got to quit talking and actually read what's going on here. I need to advance so that I get my feedback from Memphis, and then we'll see who performed well and who didn't. All right, so is that basically the same exact guys that went to Georgia that went to Memphis? It looks like it. So let's see if we have the exact same results. So Roy Smith actually had a decent showing at Memphis. King was in the top 25. All right, so Roy Smith we're also going to throw into that mix of guys that we really want as our top targets. We'll keep the other three guys on our list. Probably going to move King to the top of that list, seeing as how he was in the top 25 at Memphis, but I doubt that, I doubt we're going to create a whole lot of interest here. He's saying he's got no interest. He'll probably commit elsewhere. But these are the kind of guys that, as we grow, I would 100% be going after. These three-star guys, maybe they're not ranked crazy, but for Florida A&M, man, if we could bring in just two of them, that would be really amazing. Agalia, I have not tried out Draft Day Sports College Football 2020. I have tried out the demo for 19. I had a great time with it. As soon as I finished off that first year, I went straight to purchase it, and it turns out the 2020 version was already available. So, at the same time, I found out 2021's coming out relatively soon. So I didn't spring for 2020 just because I wanted to hold off and wait for 2021. But yes, I have played a Draft Day Sports college football game, and I did enjoy it very much so. So if you're into college football, I would definitely recommend it. Let's go ahead. We got our campus visits. We got our scouting. Let's get our film. And let's see, can we get anything out of these recruits? So, of course, he wants playing time and location. Let's see what the other guy says. Oh, we've already unlocked that with our assistant. Oh, he was busy tweeting Wolverine Studios and not paying attention to me, so whatever, man. We already know. Oh, he was the JUCO center. So yeah, location and playing time. We're 10th on his list. Take a look at Brown. Not in his top 10. Look at how much he likes academics, facilities. Yikes, that's scary for us because we don't have a whole lot of anything outside of location and maybe if they're good enough playing time. But we've got all of our activities done for this week, so let's move ahead. That would probably be my fault because I'm an idiot that had my microphone up on my PC. How's that working out better? I sat here and got everything set up and then forgot to grab the microphone and move it a little bit closer. All right, we still have all our recruiting stuff done. Let's move on ahead. How do we get 30 minutes in and nobody else started yelling at me for having a horribly quiet microphone? This is usually where I have it. I was just a dummy and forgot to move it before I got going here. So did we created some interest here, or we lost interest on Brown? We created a little out of Frederick. All right. Keep on plugging away, guys. That's all that you can do when you got no skills, when you got absolutely nothing breaking your way. Let's go ahead and get film on this guy. Let's definitely get some more film on some of these guys up here toward the top. And then, let's see, was there... Let's do this. King is definitely awesome. Smith we will also offer. And then point guard. How's he looking? We're not in his top 10, but he really likes location. So let's give Mr. Robinson. Let's actually take a look at all of our point guards. No, none of them stood out in camps. Let's take a look at the ratings over here. See how I always just kind of give a... Even though our scout's terrible, you know, they can't be completely wrong. Like Stewart here, he's got an A on defense. It's probably not an A. Maybe it's a B. Even if it's a C, it's probably not an F. You know, our scouts got him graded pretty high across the board. So with none of these other guys necessarily standing out, I think that Stewart is probably going to be our first offer here at point guard. We're number 4 on his list. So we got all those offers out. Now let's just bug them. Let's see if we can get some more information out of them. Come on, man. You want to hear about location, right? No, you're tweeting Wolverine Studios 500 times in a row, and now he just wants all the questions DM to him. So, whatever. Still got 12K. We're good on budget. We need to get some of these point guards in for visits, especially the one that we've made an offer to. Yeah, you know, I switch up the questions. Usually if that was happening to me, I would do the same thing. I think maybe they're just not interested in that one particular question. But since location is really all I have, it's mostly the only one I care about. And honestly, I mean, as you've seen before, I'd be perfectly willing to just not make any phone calls and pitch location to all of them and just see what happens. We will watch a little more film on these guys. We may do that as we go ahead as well. See, we've already identified who we're offering, so we got those offers out early. We're just bringing people in for visits, seeing if we can get some more information in case these initial offers fall through. Yeah, once you get your recruiting skill up, you ought to be able to unlock 2 full recruits a week if all you ask is the pitch questions. But even, you're right, at a lower level, if you mix it up in there, you should probably be able to unlock 1 a week. I'm just impatient, to be quite honest. So that's 100% on me. Let's bounce over and get some film. Gosh, man. Do not have a whole lot going on here at small forward. In the entire state, that was everybody that we thought could possibly qualify. So Green is a JUCO. He's the only one with real warm interest until we get all the way down outside of the top 1,000. Yikes. That's so terrible. I like Kemp and Demery. They both have some decent rebounding stats. So Galia said that as his school's getting better, he actually adds fewer people to the list. I'll say, for me, it depends on how many scholarships I've got. If I've only got 1 scholarship, sometimes I'll have a little bit more of a limited list. But if I've got 3 or 4 scholarships or more, I'll usually max it out and fill it up with 50 players. Let's go ahead and clear some of this out. All right, so we are on August 21st. Getting really close to the in-home visits here. Let us get some more centers in. And watch a little bit more film. Let's see that King here, he's dropped down to 2 stars. And, I mean, he's still in the top 500. But, like, why is a guy like that not wanting to come in? You know, it's frustrating. Maybe the in-home, maybe we can be a miracle worker this year, and these in-home visits will work out for us. You never really know. Maybe that 5 extra recruiting points is the difference. We'll see here real soon, because we only got about 2 weeks left, and then everything's on the line here as far as bringing some guys in this early period. Now, last year, we had, I think, 6 scholarships available. We only landed 1 guy in the early period, and then we ended up filling all 6 scholarships. So the early period is great to really hone in on some of these targets, but if it doesn't work out, it's nothing to, it's not a career ender or anything. We'll be fine. And Knox, look, this dude is a 1-star, ranked barely in the top 900, and he has no interest. Florida A&M is really, really bad. And I guess there's only one person to blame 4 years into it, and that's me. But I'm doing my best here. There's only so much you can do when you can't figure out which basket you're supposed to be shooting at, which I assume is the case with as low as my coach's ratings are. Nothing above, I think recruiting is the highest, so what was that, 42 or 43? Again, I can tell you and I are really going to have a lot of fun when we get into that multiplayer league and start going back and forth with the cats and the cards. Got a whole lot to say here going to Florida A&M. We'll see how it works out. You watch, I'm telling you, like, the first couple of dominoes start falling down, and it's over. I'm taking this league over, this solo league. The multiplayer league will be competitive for a long time, I'm sure. But in here, I'm definitely taking this over. Just have to get over this initial hump, and it's a big hump. It's a fairly steep hill to climb, but once we get there, it's going to go fast from there. So just hang with me, and you'll see what happens. Get some film on these 2 guards. Never know, we could bring one in. Alright, so here we go. The moments of truth for 4 weeks. In-home visits. Last year, every time we visited somebody, we basically lost interest, with the exception of the one recruit we really, really cared about. So I would love for that to happen again. So let's get all our positions up on the screen. Then we can take a look through here. Frederick's actually fairly highly rated. Look at those rebounds, though. The guy can't rebound at all. There's no way he's that good of a power forward. Maybe he can score a little bit, but need a little bit more out of my power forward than just scoring. So King, don't have anything unlocked on him. We can try real quick with some location. Oh, right, we can't get anything out of him because he has no interest. So let's just go and visit. If he tells us off, I guess we just... I said I was going to stick to it this year, and I think that's the way to go. We're just going to hassle the bejesus out of these guys until they either commit somewhere else or give in. So he's got playing time fairly high. As a point guard, I got a couple of guys ahead of him, so I'm definitely going to stay away from that. We're just going with location. Again, I would almost just go location, even without looking. Roy Smith, not in the top 1,000, still doesn't care for our school at all. Pitch and location. And then we will go we'll fall back on somebody here that at least does have a little bit of interest, like Mike Dickenman. Yeah, and we'll go, he can be sort of a backup there. So, jump over to our inbox, and we're going to power through this. Let's see if we can't land somebody in the first week. My guess is no. But we're definitely going to give it a shot. We'll see how your mid-major is going, Agalia. Wait until I can dig this program out just a little bit. So Mike Stewart. Which one? Mike Stewart must have been our point guard, because I know the center was King, the small forward Smith. Right, so Smith can't see it. Stewart impressed it. King can't see it. And there we go. So that should be our point guard, right? So there we go. We got one of our three in the first week. You gotta like that. You know, it looked like, I mean, he's a 2-star right now. Again, that can always change. It means virtually nothing. We're just looking for depth because we actually have 2 freshman point guards on the roster right now that'll probably be ahead of him. So this could be a guy that either adds depth, can slide over to the 2, but it looked like he was a fairly good defender. So that's what I'm excited about here in Mike Stewart. The other 2 guys, you know, the visit did nothing for them. I don't care. I'm going to stay all over them until they commit elsewhere. So it would be King. And let's just go ahead and bother all of these guys that performed well in camps that we're interested in, because most of them, I mean, you'll see they perform well in camps. They're toward the top of the list. They've got, okay, maybe not the points per game, but look, if you add in rebounds, look at the 2 guys that performed well at the camp. You know, both averaging double digits in high school. So, yeah, those are the guys that we're targeting. I think Pauly was another one that was at least invited to the camps. He didn't do well at any of them. I believe there was another power forward that did well. I don't remember if it was Booth. Yeah, he was all right. So let's go bother him also. And we got one left. Let us go ahead. We'll see. Groves has some decent stats here as a center. This guy's a little bit more of a scorer. Let's focus in on Groves for now. And let's go bother him about location as well. If I don't get any of these guys in the rest of this, yes, I could revoke the scholarship offers, go somewhere else. I'm not going to bother with that this year. I'm going to see what being persistent actually brings us. My guess is nothing. We'll probably get halfway through the year and they'll commit elsewhere, but I'm just going to be as stubborn as possible. You know, oh my God, that is brutal scheduling. That's 4 home games and 9 road games in the out of conference. So we already had a big hill to climb going into this year because we lost our leading scorers, both Wild to graduation and Giles to transfer. And now our athletic director is sending us on the road 9 times in our first 13 games. That is brutal. We're going to have a long year. If we hit 10 wins this year, that'll be a big accomplishment. Wow. That's frustrating. But, you know, it is what it is. The whole thing is an absolute grind. I've said it 100 times already, and I'm going to keep on saying it until I end up in the Final Four. You know, you want to do the Journeyman save and start off at a lower school, and this is what you're going to be dealing with. So we're actually down to $6,500 in the budget. We need to trim this list a bit. Pauly went to Auburn. Let's get rid of a couple guys here at the very top that we don't have interest in. We're not offering. Childs to FIU. Is it Stetson? I've lost some guys to Stetson already. That's how I knew that one. Let's see. Still no interest here out of King. Still no interest out of Smith. That's annoying. We actually did get some interest back out of Khalid Knox. Let's see what he said about our in-home visit. Groves liked it. Booth didn't. Knox thought it was cool. And King still doesn't like it. So we are going to go ahead and switch this up. King would be our first offer, but Knox is giving us a little bit of a sign of life. Let's flip that offer over. Visit again. Talk about location. We're still going to go visit and bother King. You know, he's going to have to... These are only costing us $125 each. He's going to have to just endure our pestering for now. Who else do we want to go after? Groves, I believe, is the one that we checked out last time. We're number 2 on his list. Look, very little interest in coming to our school. Number 2 in his top 10. Actually, what I need to do is get another small forward. Let's see, where is... There's Smith, who doesn't care for us at all, and I do not care. I'm bothering him all day long. And Jordan. Hey, Jeff Jordan. Michael's son, I believe. So he's really into location. So what is it? Look, 8 points a game, that's pathetic. I mean, I'll offer him, I guess. Do we have... Yikes. That's really bad, guys. That's really, really bad. Look at this. Chad Brown, his coach says he's got a tremendous work ethic. We're number 5 on his list. We're gonna... we're not going to take our offer off of that. But we are going to go and visit Chad Brown. So that Chad Brown will be our backup option. If we can't land Smith, Chad Brown will be our backup for that. Then we're going after Knox pretty hard for our inside guy. And Groves will be our backup for that. So let's see how that works out. We only have 2 more weeks of in-home recruiting here. Then we'll get into our practice time. So I'll jump over and just sort of review my practice plan and strategy and all that good stuff. And then we'll get simulated right up to the start of games. And we're going to check out those games tomorrow night. All right. So hopefully we get... If we got one more of these guys that we already have offers out to, that would be amazing. I don't think that it's going to happen. But you never know. All right. What happened here? Edmund Green... committed elsewhere. Go ahead and pull him off that list. Look at... Oh, yeah. Khalid Knox. That's fine. Smith jumped back up in the ratings. Still no interest. King still no interest. Let's see. What did... We're up to number 2 with Knox. This would be a good get. This would be a very good get. Come on, baby. Bring it home. Khalid Knox. You are the man. I think King is probably a lost cause. We'll go ahead and jump over on Groves. Where is... Feaster went elsewhere. Davis went elsewhere. Let's see. Chad Brown should be on here somewhere. And Roy Smith. All right, so last week of in-home recruiting. Let's see what happens. See if we can't pull off the miracle. If we brought in Knox, man, that would be cool. He's got great stats. He's not quite in the top 500, but not only did he do well at Memphis, he did good at the Georgia Superstar Camp. So, man, that would be an excellent guy to pull in. I know we have brought in a lot of guys on the inside, but, we can't turn down talent. Shoot, I'll slide him down to... I'll slide him down, play him at the 3 if I need to. So you can see here in our practice plan, we're really focusing on the Princeton and the triangle. We're running a little bit Princeton heavy. We can go and see how that's working out on some of these guys that we've had for a few years now. So, for example, Hinton moving into his... Well, actually, I'll show you that before we end. I actually want to get some of this practice in because they're going to gain skills throughout the season, but then they gain a lot in the preseason as well. So let's get our last. We already did our last week. Did we already advance? No. Let's clear off the rest of the list, save a little bit of money so that we can bother these fellas throughout the winter and the spring. Anybody else committed? Everybody else on our list is uncommitted. So let's check out what happens in our last week. Fingers crossed, guys. Let's go, Khalid Knox. Come on, man. 2 years in a row. We need a big recruit. We need big recruits. Let's make it happen. I lost Giles. Give me Knox. Come on. Nothing. Let's see where we are. All right, so we moved down to 3. We're still up on his list, though, so all good. He hasn't committed elsewhere. It's really all that I can ask for at this point. We can let the assistant take it from here in the off season. 4 in-home visits with Roy Smith could not generate one bit of interest. Chad Brown now has no interest. I told you those in-home visits were hurting as much as they helped. No longer in his top 10. So frustrating to be that bad at recruiting that you actually turn recruits off by visiting. I know academics was actually a little bit higher on his list, but our academics are so bad. Our facilities are awful. Prestige, both conference and team, is awful. I've got nothing to offer these guys except location, maybe coach discipline, playing time if I had it. So let's go. Now, what I do see happen a lot of times is we start getting into a couple of these practice weeks, and before the games even start, we'll pick up a commit. Some of these guys, just from talking to the assistant, will decide, I'm not getting offers from the schools I really want. Florida A&M's got the offer out there, and they'll jump on board before the season gets going. So let's see if we can't get lucky and get a Knox commitment here before the season gets going. And then we'll just let it ride with Smith. Brown was our backup option there. He obviously didn't work out. He thought that one was cool, but then the next time he couldn't see playing for me. Whatever, man. Whatever. All right. Crossing my fingers that we get lucky here in this next couple of weeks as we move through practice, and then we'll get it up to right up to the start of games, which actually should be in another week or two. Then we're going to jump over and take a look at some of the guys that have been with the program for a few years, see how they're progressing as far as their abilities with our different offenses. You can see I had both the Princeton and the Triangle at about 20%. I had all the zones at 10%. The zones, especially if you don't have a good coaching rating, you really need more than 5% on those zones, I feel like. And if you do have an excellent coaching rating, odds are you're at a bigger school and you're probably playing younger players. So I keep the zone offenses at 10% virtually always. I don't see any reason not to. Otherwise, I've just played too many games where, I'm dominant against man defenses, and then somebody throws a zone at me and I can't do anything. So since I've jumped up to 10% across the board there on the zone defenses, I haven't had that issue. I haven't noticed a big difference in my performance versus man defense as opposed to zone defenses. So I feel like that's been a pretty big improvement for me. But we will keep an eye on it going forward. All right, so we're here we were on Sunday, October 30th, moving into November 6th. We're starting to get scouting reports. That means games are going to start soon. We've got our red shirt reminder. Let's sim it again, and this should get us up to the beginning of the regular season. I'm also interested to see, now that we've gone through the practices, if our scouting evaluations have changed, not only on the players that have already been a while, but on any of those freshmen, particularly Montgomery, who was the center I was very excited about, and also Griffin, I believe, was a point guard that came in rated at 3 stars. There's no way that still stands. So our season has begun. We did not get any of the other 2 recruits we'd offered to come into school. Let's take a quick look over here at our dashboard at our ratings on our players. So Watkins is still high. Griffin's still fairly high. Montgomery's still really low. Villarreal, the shooting guard there, you can see it says it gives you a little injured indicator, but that just means he's ineligible because he was a transfer. So he will be available next year. So you can see if Griffin's rating holds steady, Villarreal's around. I still refuse to believe that Montgomery's a half star. We're going to let him play and see how he actually shows up. And then landing a guy like Knox, that would be a fairly decent team, I believe. So let's take a look here at Watkins. So look at that. We're running those 10% across the board on our zones, and look at how good he is at attacking a zone. Look at how well he runs the Princeton and the triangle. That's huge. The players' efficiencies at these different types of offenses is really going to affect how well they set up shots. It can affect their assist turnover ratios. It definitely cuts down on turnovers across the board when they're running offenses they're familiar with. So that right there is our senior point guard, one of the better players on our team, and he's very familiar with these offenses. So that's actually a huge deal for us. Another reason I really wanted to have a couple of freshmen coming in this year and starting to learn, because you look at a freshman, he's 28, 26 on these 2, not quite to 30 on any of these. He'll learn some throughout the year, especially if he gets some playing time. So he may be up into the mid-30s, even pushing 40 by the end of the year. And then, by the time, assuming he's our starting point guard next year, he could be in the mid-50s with these, pushing 60 if we got real lucky. But definitely well above 50. So it was huge to bring those guys in. Let's check out. So here's a sophomore. So you can see he's just about to crack up over 40. And I don't think he played an awful lot last year. He was playing 5 minutes a game last year. So he didn't get all that much development last year. And he's still around 40. So if we're playing these guys, especially as of right now, I think Griffin's a starter. Based on the scouting ratings, we're going to see how these guys play out. But just based on the ratings, who else am I going to start? The walk-on or one of the other freshmen? That I think Watkins and Griffin, that's our starting backcourt. Sanchez, and then be a tough call after that. I might go with Hinton and Story and let Montgomery be the third. Maybe throw Jerron White into the mix. So that's probably what I'll set up. Let's go ahead and set that up. We already took a look at pretty much everything we wanted to look at. Let's see what the AI says first of all. Look at that. The AI, even though they give you that garbage rating on Montgomery, look who the starting center is. Think about that. The AI knows. They know that dude can play. Same way I knew that dude could play. So they're actually going to start Story at the 4 and start Montgomery at the 5. With Johnson, Hinton, White. Wow, they got White playing the backup 3. Carter is a shooting guard. They got Watkins playing 40 minutes a game. Oh, wow. You can't sit him a little bit and let Griffin run that? That's what we're going to do. We're going to change that up a little bit. So those are the 2 point guards. Shooting guard. God, we really only have 2 decent guards. The rest of them are all absolute garbage. We'll probably... This dude's looks terrible. Johnson. Got a whole lot of nothing going on over here. I think I'm going to roll with Dixon as our third guard. I will stick with the computer's depth chart outside of that. I like Dixon better than Carter. So what we're going to do, I'm going to reset this a little bit. I like to get that out of the way so that I can get an accurate read on it. So I'm all right with this part of it, all the front court. All I'm going to do is come in and adjust the back court. So Dixon is going to be our third rotating guard. He's going to come in here. And he's going to come in right here. So we're going to play him for 8-minute stretches at a time. And then we're going to let Griffin actually run the point for 4 minutes each half, just to give Watkins a little bit of a break. It gives him a break in both halves. I like that much better. Even though it does have Dixon playing far more than I'd like. But we don't have a whole lot of options at guard this year. We just don't. So this is what we're going to do as far as our depth goes. And, we're just going to cross our fingers that these guys continue to develop. We don't, that just shows you how big Giles transferring out was. Had he stayed, we would have had an excellent 2-guard. We would have had an excellent senior point guard. Griffin could have been that third rotating guard, so we had depth there, quality depth. So that was just a brutal loss for us. But here we are at the start of the games, guys. You can see we've got a little bit of depth coming in at point guard. We've got a power forward that we're trying to bring in that, if he came, would be a massive haul for this school. The center prospect, Montgomery, that I really liked, his rating is awful, but the AI is recognizing the talent the same way that I recognize the talent. I have full faith that he's going to be fine. We've got a great senior point guard. Griffin having to run that too is going to be sketchy. We've got another senior at small forward. We have some talent at the power forward. They've been a little inconsistent in the past, but they're turning into upperclassmen now. So the biggest setbacks that we're going to have this year clearly are going to be the fact that Giles left and we're left starting a freshman at the shooting guard who's playing out of position and gives us no depth, along with the fact that our AD completely hosed us with the scheduling and gave us 9 out of our first 13 games on the road. So those are going to be tremendous challenges this year. If we get 10 games, if we get 10 wins, that will absolutely be a big time accomplishment. And otherwise we're still grinding, still gaining experience as a coach, getting better at coaching, offensive, defensive, player development, all that stuff, but most importantly recruiting. So hopefully that really starts shining through in the next year or two. And like I was saying earlier, when this starts happening, it's going to happen quick. It's going to snowball, and Florida A&M is going to take over this conference quickly, and we're going to be up for quite a few head coaching jobs. So I expect that's going to happen within a week or two of streaming, if we stay on the schedule that we're doing right now. So I'm going to go ahead, save it here, cut our stream off for the night. Tomorrow night, I'm going to bring you all of the games for you can see here we're in November of 2022. So all of the games for the 2022-2023 season, all the regular season games, all the postseason games, and then we'll check out end-of-season goals, see if there's any head coaching jobs available. My assumption is we're at Florida A&M for the next couple of years as we just look to just kind of turn that corner. So, guys, I really appreciate y'all stopping by. Thanks. Got a couple of great tips and suggestions in the chat tonight. I always appreciate that, so thank you guys so much. My plan is to be back on tomorrow night bringing you those games, so make sure that you're following. Go check us out. The GM Games Discord, GM Games YouTube has all of the old episodes. If you missed any, you can catch up and see how we've got to this point. And make sure that you stop by again tomorrow night. Thanks, guys, and I'll see y'all next time.